Idaho Falls Pediatrics, proudly supporting kids in our community and 7 questions with Emmy.
Hey guys, welcome back to 7 Questions with Emmy. My guest today is Adrian Ropp, a 30-year entertainment industry veteran who has worked in film, games, and comics. He is probably best known for his video game work with Disney Infinity and Hogwarts Legacy, along with writing and drawing numerous comic books. Adrian, it's so good to see you.
Good to see you too, Emmy.
My mom and my brothers met you a little bit a couple months ago. I'm sad I couldn't. We were in Boise.
They told me that you would probably want to talk to me, but you couldn't make it to the show. So I'm happy that you connected with me.
Me too. Are you ready to get started with the questions?
I hope so. I studied so that I'd get the answers right.
Okay. At what age did you start drawing, and have you always liked to draw?
So I think I can remember about 6 years old. My grandparents took me to see The Jungle Book in the theater, and I loved it so much. I thought that's what I want to do for a living. I didn't know what that meant or anything. I just knew that I wanted to do that. So I came home and I just started drawing on everything. Coloring books have the blank inside cover. I would draw little comic strips in there, and then I'd erase them, and then I'd draw new ones. And I just drew. I think my parents spent a lot of money on paper so I could draw. So I was about 6 years old.
That's it kind of relates to my little brother because he likes drawing so much. But he's 4, so he's like just scribbling on paper, and then he's like, "Give me a new paper," and he's scribbling on it.
Yeah, so that's what mine looked like back then too, because somebody asked me the other day, like, how do you draw so well? And I said, I had 30 years of practice. I didn't always draw so well.
Yeah. How did you get your start in working on video games?
So I was working in film animation at first, and I worked on a movie called The Princess and the Pea, and then I directed a movie called The Velveteen Rabbit. And then a friend of mine was working at Disney in their video game department, and they had a job opening, and so he recommended me for the job. So I just went over there.
Do you have a favorite project that you've worked on?
Definitely this one, Disney Infinity.
Yeah.
My very favorite project ever, because we got to work on all the Disney characters and all the Pixar characters and all the Marvel characters and all the Star Wars characters. So just basically, it was just like giving me a toy box of all my favorite things to play in. And I got to record the voices with the actors, and I got to do some drawings of all the different characters. So that was definitely my favorite project.
So did you get to meet all the actors then?
I didn't get to meet them all. Sometimes we did like a phone session where I would record them from Salt Lake and they would be in California. But one person that I worked with more than anybody else, I know you met, it was Larry the Cable Guy, because I worked on 3 different Cars video games. So I got to record him a lot of times. He's a fun guy.
He is really fun. He's awesome.
Yeah.
I always remember when I was little, we had these neighbors that they moved away now, but I'd always be in their basement, and they had Disney Infinity. So I saw the little characters. I never thought one day that I would be meeting one of the creators of Disney Infinity right here.
True. Yeah, the main studio is in Salt Lake. So there was about 250 people here that were making that game. And it was really cool. And we just didn't advertise it to everybody, so nobody knew to bug us at the studio very much.
Yeah. How did you feel the first time you got a call to work with Disney?
Oh, it was a dream come true, Emmy, because my whole life I wanted to work for Disney. And I grew up in a little tiny farming town, and I didn't know how I was ever going to make that dream come true. And so my whole life, all I wanted to do was work for Disney. And when I applied there and they called me and offered me the job, you couldn't have said anything that would have given me a frown that day. I just was so happy. I drove home to tell my wife, and I was singing the whole way. It was just such a dream come true for me. I can't even put it into words. The only thing that has made me more happy was getting a kidney transplant and getting my life back. So It was a big deal. I loved it.
Will you tell me about your kidney transplant?
Oh, sure. So I got really sick and I had to stop working, and they didn't know what was wrong for a long time. I went to a lot of different doctors, and then finally one doctor was very smart and said, I think you have kidney failure. And so I went to the kidney doctor, and he said, sure enough, you do, and you're going to have to go on dialysis. Dialysis is this thing where they hook to your body, and it takes out all the poisons in your body that your kidneys usually take out. But my kidneys couldn't do it anymore. So I was getting sicker and sicker because my body was getting poisoned. And I got really weak, and I couldn't work, and I had to be in bed a lot, couldn't do things the way I wanted to do them. When I met your family in Idaho Falls, I was really sick that day. But the only way you can get better from kidney failure is you get a transplant. So you either have to have a really nice person offer to apply to be a donor, or somebody has to pass away and be an organ donor and leave you their kidney. And so for about a year, I was just praying and hoping that somebody would be able to donate a kidney to me. And all my friends and family applied, and none of them got approved because they weren't a match for me. And I was really worried that I wasn't going to be around on the earth very much longer, so that I could spread joy with my art and meet all these awesome people like you. And then one day, a really wonderful gentleman from my hometown passed away, and he was an organ donor, and his wife, bless her heart, she asked that I be the recipient of his kidney. And they said, that's not probably going to work, because there's only a 2% chance that will match. And it ended up being one of the closest matches they'd ever seen. So they called me up, and they gave me an hour to get to the hospital. I went to the hospital, they put me under, and then I woke up with a brand new kidney. And you know what's the funniest thing about that, Emmy?
What?
When they give you a kidney transplant, they don't take out your old kidneys. So I have 3 kidneys in my body right now. It's like a superpower.
That's cool.
So I always tell everybody, if you can be an organ donor, you should do it, because you'll save somebody's life. I get a chance to live on this earth for a long time now, and share my art and make people happy and hopeful. And I'm so grateful for it. So thank you for asking about that.
Yeah. I just wanted to say I was in a Frozen play, and Mom got me this Anna, and I don't know if you remember this, but she got an Anna, and I still have that in my room because it's so special to me, because I was Anna in the play. So
you got the Infinity Anna? Is that what you're saying? Oh, I've got the Elsa right here.
That's awesome.
But do you know what?
Well,
I recorded the Anna session. So I worked with Kristen Bell.
That's so awesome.
She loves sloths a lot. Hey, do you know about that?
Yeah. No, I didn't.
She met a sloth on vacation one time, and they let her hold it, and she started crying because she loves sloths so much. So that's why in Zootopia she actually plays one of the sloths, is because of how much she loves sloths.
That's so cool.
Did you like playing Anna in the play?
Yeah, it was really fun.
I always thought Anna was the better princess, honestly, because she did all the hard work to save everybody. Elsa just got grouchy.
Yeah. You are from Blackfoot. For young people in small towns who want to be artists and animators, how did you find opportunities to grow your skills?
So I took, whenever my school had art classes, I took those. And then I wanted to sort of be a writer and an artist. So I actually joined the journalism group, which did the newspaper. And I said I would only join if they would let me have a comic strip in every issue. So I got to do my art and my writing there. And then I went to college in St. George for art, and just kind of worked my way up. But I always tell people, it doesn't matter where you're from. If you have a dream, you can make it happen if you want it bad enough. Like, don't ever let anybody tell you no. Like, you're from Idaho, so like sometimes these types of dreams seem really impossible to achieve, because you're like, how am I ever going to be in this situation? You've done a really good job with it, by the way. But how am I ever going to be in a situation where I can do something with this skill? And it still amazes me every day that I get to wake up and do this for a living, because it's just all I ever wanted to do. So I just say, don't ever give up. Go to the library, research all the books you can, just do everything in your power to learn as much as you can about what you want to do.
Yeah. My family met you at Retro X. I think sorry.
Yeah.
In Idaho Falls. So you travel to a lot of Comic Cons, and is there a favorite place that you have ever traveled to?
Ooh, That's a good question, and I have a good answer. Seaside, Oregon. I did a little tiny convention in Seaside, Oregon, which is literally on the seaside. Like when I was sitting at my booth in the convention center, the doors were open and I could see the beach from where I was sitting. You could smell the seawater and everything. So I loved it so much that a couple of years later, I took my wife back there because I'm like, she's got to see this place. It's amazing. So yeah, that's my very favorite place to be. But I always do Salt Lake Fan X, and I always do the Denver Comic Con, and I have a lot of friends there. So I enjoy doing those too. But Seaside is definitely my favorite.
Yeah, that we should. I've never been to Oregon, so we'll next time. If I get to go, we'll have to check out Seaside, Oregon.
Awesome. There's a lot of cool things to see there. You should definitely go.
Maybe if you're there, we could meet up. I don't know.
I mean, let's make it happen because I want to go back too.
Being from Blackfoot, did you ever work on Spud Harvest? And what is your favorite way to have our famous potatoes?
I had blocked out my memory of that because it's traumatic. But yes, I did. My uncle is a potato farmer, and I drove the potato truck one year for him. And I was 15, and I was driving those giant potato trucks, and it was really scary. But yeah, I did work in the Spud Harvest. It's funny because when I tell people in the industry that we got out of school for 2 weeks for Spud Harvest, nobody ever believes me. They think that it's made up. I'm like, no, it's true. They let us out of school for 2 weeks every year. So yeah, but I did work in the Spud Harvest. And then what's my favorite way to eat potatoes? You know, I'm pretty boring. I just like a nice baked potato with butter and sour cream on it.
Me too. Actually, that's like my order at restaurants.
Yeah, like I go to the Outback and I just get a nice. Oh man, they're so good. You're making me hungry right now.
Sorry.
Like mashed potatoes or French fries and stuff, and they're okay. But I think the baked potatoes are really good. I eaten potatoes raw too. When you take them right out of the ground, they're not bad. So, you ever tried that?
No, I haven't. But next time,
like if you get a really fresh one, get it nice and clean, and then just take a slice out of it, and it's really juicy. And yeah, it's not bad.
What's a piece of advice you can share with me?
Okay, a piece of advice I can share with you. So I think I've seen all of your videos, and I think you should be giving me advice because you're amazing. But I have a friend named Alyssa who runs an animal sanctuary, and she had to try really hard to make that dream come true. And she has a saying, be your own fairy godmother, which means if you have a wish or a dream and nobody's helping you make it come true, you help yourself make it come true, and you can accomplish whatever you want. And I know that's true because I've done it several times now. Sometimes it's really hard, but I would say that that's my advice. Be your own fairy godmother.
I really like that.
Good.
Thank you so much for talking with me today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me, Emmy. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for watching. Remember, new 7 questions interviews are posted every Thursday. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Love you guys. Bye.
Idaho Falls Pediatrics, proudly supporting kids in our community, and 7 questions with Emmy.